Hey, welcome to season 2 of Fluid Connections. My name is Robert Tino Maldonado. That's a mouthful. Just call me Tino. Um, I'm so excited. I want to take my video vlogs and podcasts to a whole new level. And so I'm trying out some different things. First season was more of a just practice for me, I feel like, and hope you guys were blessed by it if you listened. Some of it I think is to me looking back, it's a little bit awkward because I'm starting out and it still feels a little bit, but I'm having fun and I hope that you will have fun with me and be blessed with me as we talk about subjects on experiencing God. It's kind of funny because I was super excited. I had today planned to do this and I'm looking around for my tripod and my son likes to play with it, so I couldn't find it. And I thought, that's fine. That's life. So I'm just going to wing it then and just hold it by hand. So don't be distracted. If you're listening, I wanted to do this as a video as well as an audio for my podcast. For those of you that are listening, if you prefer just listening on the go. So for convenience sake. So doing a lot of praying and seeking God on what do I want, to be known by, and what is my purpose and calling, and like my wife and and I realized that in reality what my heart's desire and what we've always been basing every decision on, how we make our decision, has to do with our intimacy with the Lord, our intimacy with Jesus, our passion to experience Him in all levels and every area of our life. And I think that applies for everybody. That should be available for everybody. I mean, it is, but how do we get there? So this season's going to be a lot about discussing that in various forms. Some of it's going to be abstract, and when I say abstract, I mean it's because sometimes it's all, the only thing holding us back is our beliefs. Only thing holding us back is what we think about it. And then we'll get into practicalness as well, and then into renewing of the mind. I'm really excited. I have so much stuff up my sleeve, I think, that the Lord has laid in my heart. So anyhow, earlier this week I have a Bible app. It pops up with the verse of the day, and earlier this week it was Luke 9:23-24. And he said to all, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. It's a pretty hardcore verse. And what came to my mind is, again, intimacy with God. It's not about less of you. It's about all of you. It's about God wanting all of you. It's about Jesus desiring you. It's not about you giving up your identity necessarily, but it's about Him being first in your life because He's so crazy about you. I want to touch on some verses here. I'm going to scroll up. As human beings, it's easy to do something rather than to change our heart or mindset. Matthew 9:13 says, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I came not to call the righteous but sinners. 1 Samuel 15:22 from the NLT. The other one was ESV, by the way. But Samuel replied, what is more pleasing to the Lord, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, or your obedience to His voice? Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice, and submission is better than offering the fat of rams. What does that mean? Gosh, we could probably write a whole book on stories of our own experiences of people just being religious. And they may mean well, but there's more to it than that. You can't just be religious in life and in church doing rituals, sacrifices, and think that's what it all boils down to. It feels good sometimes. It may give off a sense of righteousness that you're doing it, that you're making it. And I'm not here to offend you, but I want to take you through a different route. I want you to look at this from a different angle. Our God, a holy, amazing God, humbled himself to become 100% man 2,000 years ago as Jesus Christ. He experienced everything that we would experience, but without sin. And even prior to that, he is a being. He created emotions, but he actually has emotions. He doesn't create anything that's not from what is within himself. What does that mean? What am I trying to get at here? What I'm trying to say is you can have a personal, daily relationship with a God that created the whole universe and actually have a one-on-one relationship with him. And that's his desire. He's actually so crazy infatuated with you that even on your worst day, he wants to be there with you. And you may be right away thinking, that's not, there's no way. Well, that's why he paid the fine on the cross. To eliminate that wall, that blockade. To pay the price for our mistakes and our messes. I wasn't going to go this route, but I could tell there's some of you that are like, well, no, there's no way. He doesn't know what I've done. Or like you may be thinking, I don't know what you've done. It doesn't matter. However bad you think you were or are, if you think it's not enough, you're actually telling God that his sacrifice and suffering on the cross was not enough. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty insulting, considering how much he suffered on the cross. So let's get that out of the way. No excuses. He will clean you up and forgive everything just in a chance to have a relationship with you. We owe it to him to have a relationship back with him. Now back to what I'm trying to get at. Now sometimes it feels easier to sacrifice a lot, to do a bunch of acts. And that could be a form of worship, but that can't be the main thing. That you can't base a foundation on that. So the hard part is realizing something that seems abstract, that you can actually have a relationship with him on a daily basis. It's not confined to four walls in a nice fancy church building. It could be from your own home. It could be in the car ride. It could be when you go out to get groceries. It could be how you relate to people. God is in the midst of our lives and the chaos of life. You need both time to make time to get quiet with God, and then you also need time to just recognize that he's with you in the busyness of life. I had more notes here. Give me a moment. I guess when it comes down to it, once you get past that point, it comes down to now obedience. And it's not, depending on your background in life, don't look at it like God's trying to God's trying to be a puppet master. I want to say rule over. He does want to rule over. He wants to be your king, but he wants you to be a king and a queen, depending on your gender. He wants you to walk up with him as royalty. He wants to get past the slavery mentality and get into sonship, daughtership, adopting you as his children and friend, to the point where I know this might be extreme for some of you, and I'm going to explain deeper in future episodes, but he wants to get to a point where he's discussing matters with you. You know, there's his overall set will of what's going to happen no matter what, but not everything is set in stone. We know that, okay? If you see somebody that is committing a crime, that was not God's will. What I mean is, you, depending on the country you're talking about, you're thinking of right away. I just could see people think, well, what about this? Okay, it's not God's will for somebody to murder somebody out of selfish ambition. I feel like we all could agree to that to a lot of, hopefully, complete extent. So not everything is his will. So there's things that are out of his will. It's not out of his control necessarily. But there are certain things in life that God has humbled himself to our prayers that he will not do unless we invite him, so that we can partner with him in making an impact on earth as it is in heaven, like that famous prayer. There's a reason for that. It's not that he can't do it without us and he has to depend on us. It's more like he chooses to, because he's desiring to lure us into an intimate relationship where we have a say on daily current events. We have a say on certain matters. And I'm going to go deeper, so just stay with me on these podcasts, but he desires to have such an intimate relationship with you that he cares about discussing global events with you just as much. It gets tricky in my wording here, but bear with me and give me the benefit of the doubt. But he cares so much as well as the moments in life that we consider small and minute and irrelevant. It's easier for me to understand this as a father or uncle. When I had relatives, I'm just trying to bring it down to anything that you could relate to. When you see a small child, that we're a small child compared to God, no matter how old you are. I don't care how old you are. There may be more expectations, but you're still a small child compared to God. And there's times where I want my kids, and we discuss this. There's moments where I'm like, look, think big picture, think end result, think about the end game. And then at the same time, I care about what makes them happy. I care about the desires that mean something to them that as they get older may not mean as much. I care about my child when he builds something out of Legos that does not look like anything from the picture. I care about them getting excited about TV shows as a form of art, I'll put it that way. About the cartoons that they watch and the storyline and their input on it and how they view it. Just as much as I care about the major catastrophes that's going on. I mean, not as much, I get that, just don't get hung up on that part, please. I'm not really thinking before he talks, so, but I hope you get where I'm coming at. So he cares about those things. That's why I know some people can get offended. You can hear somebody pray for the lost and pray for cancer to be gone from somebody, and then all of a sudden in the next moment you hear them asking God, where are my keys at? And then they actually get an answer from God, because he's more than just a holy distant God. He's not distant. That's why he went to great extents to die on the cross and rise up again the third day, to give us an abundant life, to remove the obstacles that are keeping us from him. I'm gonna have to create a part 2. This is it for today. I'm gonna go deeper, guys. I'm gonna go deeper. I just take a moment to just think about all of these words. Think about the concept that there's a God who loves you in your bedroom, in the bathroom, in your living room, in the car ride, in your workspace. just as much as a place that we usually deem as religious location, like a traditional church building. I'm going to pray. I'm going to finish it off with a quick prayer. Papa God, I don't have to do a long prayer. I thank you for listening. I thank you for laying this on my heart, and that this is going to touch people. If not, it's touching me already, and that they will be able to soak into that and really find freedom and realize how much you love them and want to dive into a deep relationship. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thanks guys for tuning in. Please stay in contact. Send me some feedback. I love constructive criticism, and I love responding to people's comments. Love you guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.